Strider. Not my favorite shape and style knife. And I've talked about that previously in other Strider videos that I've done. However, anybody that will do or does a thin blue line version and of anything, a knife, pry bar, pen, whatever, a Hank, like Sherry over at Everyday Hank EDC. Anybody that does that, I'm interested because, well, as I've mentioned before, also law enforcement is in my family, and my brother, at the time of filming this, retired 2,002 days ago. He likes to post every so often about how every day is a Saturday for him. Yeah, well, good for him. Other law enforcement in my family and, a couple of my very good friends are in law enforcement. I've worked throughout my career with a lot of different local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies, doing some work for them and things like that. So it was an honor when Michael from Instagram and a viewer reached out and asked if he could send this along with several other knives. I know Strider has a cult following, much like a lot of brands, a lot of makers. Medford has a cult following. Microtech, cult following. Red Horse Knife Works, maybe a cult following. I don't know. But there's a lot of different makers that have cult followings. So I think that's kind of cool. I think it can be over the top at times, but it's cool. So let's take a close-up look at this guy. Michael carries this a lot, he told me. These just recently came out. When they were initially released, they were like a pre-order and law enforcement only. I'll put a link to their website. And it is a little bit of a bubble there in that coating. Just to, total nitpick, but you know me, I'm just going to be honest with all of my thoughts, right? So a little bit of finishing there could have been done a little bit better. I really appreciate the blue ring in the lock bar stabilizer there to kind of tie in that thin blue line theme. It is CPM 154. It is a Tanto. And I am filming this on a Tuesday, so it does carry and cover me for Tanto Tuesday. So when these were first released, they were $750, and it was law enforcement only. You actually had to send a picture of your credentials and all of that to prove that you were in law enforcement and deserved a knife. I don't know. Deserve isn't the right term, but I think they did save a few. I think they made either 25 or 50. They might have made 50, released 25 to law enforcement, and then did another 25 for Blade Show, I think. Okay, don't quote me on that, but it's your typical Strider SMF. Really, I mean, so for the cult following folks, you know all about this knife. It's a great knife, nice action. What gets me on these knives, and I talked about it in my previous videos, and I'll link some of the other videos at the end, is just this, it's super thick, like just the shape of the handle. It's just so unusual to me. Yet it's comfortable in an odd way. And I know that doesn't make any sense, but you get used to it. However, right here, it just, I don't know. It feels better to me choked up, and then it works really good. If I hold it kind of normal in a typical saber type grip, or, back on the scale, not choked back, it's just a little bit for me. I don't know. I can't really explain that one. Okay. I can't Spidey flick it. I know my buddy Eric in Utah, he loves his. It works really good in the pocket. Okay. There's just enough retention. For me on this particular model, if it were me, I would have just blacked out the lock side instead of the heat flame ano. I would have just mirrored the black on this side, the pop-up blue on the lock bar stabilizer, and if possible, I would have blacked out, or, what about a blue anodized stop pin to kind of tie a little bit of the blue into the blade? I don't know. That's interesting thought. So closed is 5 1/8. Overall is 9 inches. 3.97 inch blade, just about 4 inch blade. Let me move the Hank out the way. I will put a link to Sherry's website down below. She has incredible Hanks, all kinds. Since we're talking about her for just a second, I just got the Autism and the Simpsons. These particular two have microfiber on the backside. This one does not have microfiber. It's just a blue material. But she can do anything. She's got some donut one. She's awesome. Okay, so anyway, 3.97 inch blade with a 3.14 inch cutting edge. So yeah, you'll lose a lot. Okay, that's a thing with Strider also. You'll lose a lot of blade length because of this massive front finger choil and then a nice sharpening choil. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying you do lose some blade length, cutting edge ability versus the blade. Now, it is rather thick behind the edge. I know that's important to some of you. It's 0.043 on the main part, and then on the Tanto part, it's about 0.05. So this is not going to be your slicer and dicer like the VC Edge. This thing is 0.008 or something behind the edge. It's like crazy thin. But the blade stock is super thin. Blade stock on this is 0.189. CPM 154, as I said. Overall thickness is 0.522. Weighs in at 6.7 ounces, which really isn't that bad. It's really not. It's very comparable with other big knives like this, and I don't have a problem with that. I think it's a cool knife. It does have a lanyard hole. It's not an integral, but the show side and the back spacer are one piece. Okay, so it's really just two pieces. You have the show side / back spacer, and then you have the lock side. So if you were to take this apart, you would basically have an L-shaped inside. It's really hard to... I think you get it, right? It's just one piece. And again, that's why I would go with a black lock side, because then up on top, it would just have one continuous color. I don't know, just Dirk's nitpick on that one, but I'm sure you could, if you so desired, take this apart and, coat the lock side or something. I wouldn't. On special custom type knives, I don't really mess with them and mod them. I know people do. It's just not my thing. So let's do a couple of just really quick comparisons. The Sharpie, the VC Edge interface, the Spyderco Delica, and just because I can, how about a blacked out Red Horse Knife Works P series, the production series automatic. So there you go, guys. Thanks a lot. I greatly appreciate it. Go check out another Strider video up here in the corner.